The schedule for the conference.
I'm just pulling it up.
Yeah.
Discuss it, decide if somebody wants to go, you don't know what's on the agenda.
Yes, that is, I appreciate that.
And then I wrote in there, one of the tours, they hadn't figured out when they published that. There's gonna be guidance from us.
Oh, okay. Can I ask when you sent that?
Yesterday?
On 24 AM
Yesterday or today?
today.
Today.
There it is. Thank you. Couldn't find it.
Trying to give myself an extra cushion.
And I'm going and bringing Bokashi buckets. Actually, take all three ways.
You can do with those,
We're gonna
Bokashi bucket.
take all the food waste from the conference. See it in action.
There he is.
Here,
Still got a couple minutes.
good.
You moved up to Madison yet?
Not yet, it's 28th. So Wisconsin still has a state law that no school can start before Labor Day.
Yeah. But now she's on a scholarship, right?
She is,
I know a lot of times they let the athletes move in early because of practices.
right. Her coach said he's seen too many times where kids move up there in July and they're homesick before school even starts.
Oh, yeah.
He was good with her moving up. Okay.
Wasn't me, I couldn't wait to get out.
5:30, I will call to order this regular meeting of the Waste Reduction District of Monroe County Citizens Advisory Committee. It's the third Thursday of August 15th, 2024 at 5:30 PM. The Vice Chair, please call roll.
Yes, John Arnold, President Matt Austin,
Present.
Bill Goins,
Present.
Brad Lucas,
Here,
Paul White, and Joseph Moynihan is here. Have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. Today's agenda was distributed by email and Dropbox on Tuesday, August 13th, 2024. Are there any objections to adopting the agenda as distributed? Not shown. Hearing none, the agenda is adopted. The standard order of business approval of the meeting minutes, the minutes for the May 2024 regular meeting have been distributed by email and Dropbox on Tuesday, August 13th. Are there any corrections? Okay. Seeing none, the minutes are approved as posted. Next to report, yep,
An item, if I may, I did catch this sooner. the joint board and CAC minutes. I see they are not on the agenda, but
That's number one.
Review approval of July.
there it is. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Boards continue.
Reports from officers. Senor Tom.
Well, if you're not aware, the board did approve our budget. As presented to them, there were some slight modifications. Well, not necessarily, but it was different than what was presented at the joint meeting. Because we did the morning of the joint meeting, we had our workshop with DLGF. And they actually increased our revenue, so. So we got, I think we got about, all told, about $30,000 of additional revenue that wasn't in what was presented at the joint meeting. And then we've also cut about $6,200 in expenses. Operations Director Joey Long and I, we had a miscommunication. He had money budgeted to replace 2 AC units at our South Walnut Recycling Center. And also in what he originally sent me, not knowing if that was going to go through, he had about $6,200 budgeted for repairs on those units, and we didn't get them replaced. So we squared that away, and we do have the money to replace them, so we took that repair money back out. So what was originally presented as a $125,000 deficit budget is now about $88,000 deficit budget. That's what went through. And again, $127,000 of that is purchasing the 2 new GV trucks, $7,000 of computer equipment. We have about 5 computers that our IT guys are saying are not going to support anything beyond Windows 10, and Microsoft is no longer going to support Windows 10 coming in October. So it's a deficit, but deficit because of substantial one-time expenditures. So that balances itself out next year. So it's all been submitted to the county council. Their council work sessions are September 3rd, 4th, 5th, 11th, 12th, and 19th. Not sure which of those days will. And then
So this is our board that approved,
our board's approved it, so it has to go to the county council for
the Kearney County Council.
final adoption. And then the hearing is the public hearing. Trying to think, I got to count back. Adoption, second reading and adoption is October 22nd. The 15th is the first reading, and the 8th would be the public hearing. That is the council schedule to approve the budget. Haven't had a whole lot of discussion with anybody on the council or in the council office, but what I've had, I don't foresee them having too many heartaches or issues with moving that forward as it's presented. And then if anybody's not aware, our controller Kathy Martin is retiring. October 10th will be her last day. We have 3 candidates scheduled for interviews in the next couple of weeks. 4th candidate that's been invited for an interview but has not heard back from yet. And then actually did get a resume today that I will forward to the executive committee for them to review to see if they want to interview that person or not as well. So we're hopeful that we have the right candidate in that pool of candidates. The plan is to get through those interviews and identify the candidate and get an offer out in time that they can start September 23rd, so that they have a 2 to 3 week overlap with Kathy. Just to training, familiarize themselves with who we are, what our processes are, how we do things. So we're on schedule for that to happen, and hopeful that'll happen. And then I will give you guys a leg up on the board. Actually, we'll be proposing to the executive committee at their next meeting upgrades to our training room, our education room. We have a number of groups that Purdue works with that use that, probably use that currently more regularly than we do. And the chairs that are in there, I know they're at least 20 years old because they've been there since I was there. I think that they're pushing 30. I think they're the original chairs that were bought when that building was built. So some are missing some feet. There's a lot of stains. All in all, they've held up well if they're 30 years old, but it's time. Tables I think we got 4 tables that I've looked at that I said they're worth keeping. We're gonna, well, we're not to use, just to keep to have. But what we're getting something more similar to this is what we're looking to get. The 8-foot tables, 24 inches in depth. Our current tables are 36 inches in depth. So that will allow us to actually put an extra row of tables in when we're doing a training session. They're on wheels that lock, they flip up, so they nest. So that, and then they don't recline like that, but 100 chairs similar to these, a little more padding. And then the big one is two 75+ inch display monitors. If you're familiar with our education room, there's currently, I think, a 6-foot by 4-foot whiteboard kind of centered in there. We have a screen to slow down. That's how we do computer displays and stuff. So kind of because of the way the door is, we just shift that screen a little bit off center. That will give us room to put those 2 monitors up on either side of it, which will really help with, when we're doing PowerPoint presentations or you're doing any sort of presentations during the meeting or a training session. We're looking at about $10,000 for all of that stuff. And that would include some money for the hardware and wiring to get those monitors connected. So that they can I'm kind of excited about it. It's time. It'd be nice to bring our training into the 20th century. It's not the 21st century. That's what we got. That's kind of what's going on right now. We're kind of winding down a little bit from all the budget stuff. Started, now that the budget's done, we've started, and I don't know if I've said it in here, I know Joe's probably aware from executive committee meetings and stuff. We're now drilling into the current year budget because of all the rebranding expenses earlier in the year and not encumbering money to do those. We have lines that are way upside down. And so we've got to get budget lines reconciled. At the very least, we're going to have to ask the board, I'm sure, to move some money between the budget categories. We can't do that internally. The board has to do that. And potentially may have to see additional appropriation. So that's the big financial task at hand right now.
10,000 seems like a heck of a good number for all the updates.
I was pleasantly surprised. The tables are cheaper than I anticipated. The chairs were more expensive than I anticipated. The tables and chairs need to be done. It's time. Those things they're old and they've done more than serve their purpose.
Any questions for the chair? Okay. Thank you very much for your report. Moving on, no reports of special committees or special orders, finished business. So on to new business with the review or approval of the July joint board meeting, joint board and CAC.
Oh, it's exactly like usual meeting minutes.
Oh, okay.
I would just for the benefit that the version that you have there has been looked at by the executive committee, and they did there's some typographical errors that they found. I think substantial from what was originally produced.
Thank you for that. So the minutes for the July joint board meeting have been distributed by email and Dropbox on Tuesday, August 13th. Are there any additional corrections? Okay. Seeing none, the minutes are approved. On to the next, the AISW Waste Management Association of Indiana
Probably.
Solid Waste Management, thank you, Conference, October 8th and 9th at the Graduate. Tom was kind enough to send out the schedule for that earlier today. It's 2 days with some food provided and evening engagement on the first night. I think we have a budget to cover the cost of that. Was anybody interested in attending like I am?
Where is it?
It is here in Bloomington at the Graduate. So last year it was up in Indy. There was a hotel we stayed at in Bloomington,
What are the dates again?
October 8th and 9th.
That's what I thought you said. Is that
Yes.
what day of the week?
The 8th and the 9th,
Tuesday and Wednesday.
Tuesday and Wednesday.
Tuesday and Wednesday.
And generally, the first day of the conference is geared more toward educators with regard to the sessions. And then they always try to do a tour or two of some local facilities that are related to recycling, sustainability, climate change. This year, not looking at it, they got a tour scheduled for the Wonder Lab. And then when this was produced, they had not, the second one hadn't been determined yet, but that is now going to be the IU surplus store. So that's what the first day generally is. The second day is more the meat and potatoes of the conference. Get into topics that are pertinent to the day-to-day activities of districts.
What is the process of which need to tell you that we would like to go? And it goes from, and you take it from there, or how do we register?
Yeah, I mean, for those attending, you just let me know. I generally take our staff and the CAC, and I will register everybody all at once. So we just have to do one payment to the association for all of that. Because it is expending funds, I don't know that there needs to be any formal motion to send person A or person B, but there should at least be, if somebody expresses an interest to attend, there should be consensus of the members present that they attend.
Okay. All right, so would anybody, by a raise of hands, please indicate if you would like to attend. Possible. I'm check my schedule. Possible. Okay.
If it works into my schedule.
Okay. Joseph, maybe as well. Okay. So
What would be the date that we need a final decision?
before September 17th, because that's when the price goes up.
Price does go up.
Well, yeah, but that doesn't necessarily, that's not the cutoff, is the price just increased. So yeah, ideally, we'd like to get the early bird price. I will probably sometime early next week do the bulk registration. And that's not to say that, one or two people can't come in after the fact and I can do additional registration. I just like to do as many as I can in one shot and only deal with one payment. We can always add people on, people's schedules change.
So everybody's indicated they would like to. Oh, we were talking about the Association of Indiana Solid Waste Management District Conference, which is happening here October 8th and 9th. As everybody has indicated an interest in attending, a couple have said that they have to check their schedules for sure. Because we're going to do is a voice vote, or we're going to do a roll call vote for the approval of people attending.
I think you could just do it.
Voice vote, okay. So 5 of the 6 CAC members have indicated they're interested in going. Is that something that you would want to attend? Okay,
Yeah.
so six out of six have said we are going to going. Okay, by a voice vote. Yays, you agree, and nay if you don't. Please indicate if you would approve of your CAC members attending the conference. Yes, Joe?
A quick double check. Usually we have $1,000 for our educational budget. If I'm mistaken. Does that sound correct, Tom?
You do, but you also have $500 for travel that won't be necessary this year because we're in town.
Okay, that's.
That would normally be to reimburse for fuel driving to Indy
Right.
or to wherever. So, and then you also have this, the board would have to move this money, but you also have that $500 supply that if you don't anticipate
That's right.
using, so there's potentially $2,000
Okay.
available.
Okay.
And we can also, for our budgeting purposes, you're a department.
Got it.
So we can pull money from another department too. If they're a few $100 short.
Got it. Just wanted to make sure I'm thinking about the.
And then the other thing too about, attending is one day or both days.
Right.
Yeah. We got to decide that too. And again, this doesn't, doing a consensus that everybody can or can't attend is fine, and we can, after the fact, figure out who's going on which days.
So by a voice vote, you are approving yourself and others, the CAC 6 members to attend the conference. Do I have, please indicate your approval with a yay.
Yeah.
Any abstinence, abstinations?
Abstention.
Abstentions. Or nays? Hearing none, that is passes 6-0 approval. CAC members attending the Association of Indiana Solid Waste Management District Conference here in Bloomington, October 8th and 9th, 2020. And then please,
I'm assuming that would be in our conference.
no, that would be at the Graduate Hotel.
The graduate hotel.
Tom sent out
That is right.
morning, 9:24, with the schedule of that. So please contact Tom by by Monday, indicating what days, if you can go one or both
If
days.
you can. Yeah, I mean, the more I can get done in one shot, that's fine. And if you can't do it, just let me know that you haven't figured your schedule out yet. And like, kind of keep in mind that you may come back later down the road and say, yeah, okay, this is the day or the day.
Any other questions on that topic? Okay, moving on to the Adopt a Road cleanup, on August 24th. And so would Bill.
Yeah, so we're gonna have our adopt a road. We've got half the members that said they can make it on the 24th. We'll start at 9 a.m., meet at the Kroger like we did last year. For any of you that were involved in that last year. And then what we'll probably do is the same thing we did last year, leave some cars in Kroger, drive some cars down to the greenhouse, walk back, and then drive the people back. So we're not making trips up and back. I will get with Tom next week to get the reflective gear and the things we'll need for that.
What we might be able to do on that, because the stretch you guys do is right there. I could probably leave that at the South Walnut Recycling Center if it's open on Saturday.
Okay, that's fine.
And then you guys can pick it up when you start, drop it off when you're done, and then nobody has to deal with something around.
Okay. And then you will need a count of how many recycle and how many trash bags, correct?
No, I think Mary Beth's already got it set up because there's only 6 members, so set it up for 10 and that'll cover any extras that show up.
But how many we fill? I thought Brian had to report that to you last year so we could get them collected.
Well, we figured that out because she knows how many she puts in there. So we
Okay.
go, and for where you guys are, you're not in the city. So we'll go collect those bags. So we'll know that we gave you 20, there's only 15 returned. And we go out, yep, we picked up 5 bags.
Okay.
It's like, oh, we're not gonna return the bags to the pickup spot,
Well, yeah.
which we've done in the past.
bags, we leave at the road.
Yeah,
And then come
But
to,
we're not gonna bring them back to a spot.
no,
Well,
right, where they get full, that's where you,
That way we're not
that's where you
carrying
set that.
Okay,
the whole way.
all right.
either way, whatever works best for you. I mean, if you want to pile them all in one spot, that's fine.
That's how we used to do it, as I recall. How we used to do it, John.
It kind of depends on how full they get in and,
Yeah.
you know, how far down the stretch of road you are.
Take them up. Yeah, I thought kind of, you carry it all the way. Greenhouse place all the way.
It's only another couple more miles down to one of the transfer stations.
If they are calling for storms, I will reach out to the CAC by Thursday. And we'll try to make a decision or at least a tentative plan. I know last year Ryan scheduled it about 4 weeks and every week it's storming. So we had to keep pushing it. And actually the day we did it, it was supposed to storm, but it held off for us until we got done. So that's where we're at on the adopter road. Does everybody know where our stretcher road is?
Right now it says 86 degrees, with below 64 and 9% chance. Of course, that could change very quickly. So,
Good chance I won't be there.
okay. And so far you have, who has indicated that they are able to come?
You three, my wife will be there as well. So that's 4 of us.
Okay.
I may.
I'm planning on it.
Okay, good.
I'll be doing my own recycling thing that day out of my desk park.
I'm gonna offer volunteer work to my team, but they pick up garbage all day, every day. I want to know.
Doing your spare time.
Okay.
I mean, if for some reason they do decide to jump up and do it, I mean, let me know if you're gonna have more than 10 people.
Okay,
We can get more stuff in.
okay.
More gloves and vests and stuff in the box.
And you can supply a truck too if you want. We just throw it in.
Okay, anything else on the adopter road cleanup? Any questions, comments?
No, that's it.
All right, thank you. Right, number 4, the Waste Reduction District's potential collaboration with the Commission on Sustainability. This coincides with number 5, the proposal with looking for options on how to reduce organic waste. The Commission on Sustainability has a $10,000 in grants that can be used for various projects. And so with what we were talking about last meeting, trying to figure out how to deal with some of the organic waste, and Tom mentioning that there would be a bit of a setup in order to have grants. I mentioned that BCOS already has neighborhood grants as well as working group grants that can be used. And so it kind of made sense to collaborate, and BCOS also wants to collaborate. I'm on BCOS as a commissioner, so they want to collaborate with other governmental entities and nonprofits in order to bless you, address sustainability. Has the Waste Reduction District, I know they collaborated with the city of Bloomington before. You know, they collaborated with BCOS or the Environmental Commission or any other commissions?
Not directly like that. I mean, I think there's, you know, over the years and projects, we all kind of have a part in,
Right.
but we've never, we're just the Environmental Commission or DCOS or just in the district specifically got together for a project. But there's no reason that we can't. I think it's a logical partnership.
Yep. Yeah, and actually at the BCOS meeting 2 days ago, we talked about specifically within their bylaws, wanting to collaborate, or no, not bylaws, within their goals. And their mission statement, wanting to collaborate, so it seemed like a very good fit with that. So with that being said, the next thing is the Garden Quest initial proposal that we've got in front of you. And if you read through it, we've talked about Bokashi before, so you should be fairly familiar with the idea of Bokashi. But we're looking for a new way to deal with food waste since Earthkeepers shut down. So why to pilot a composting method on a small scale to help the city and Monroe County look for solutions to throwing food waste to not throw food waste into Republic's landfill, to teach a composting methodology that quickly and safely breaks down food waste into usable products, soil and shelf-stable fertilizer. Shoot.
We're just going to point out that since we now have the second facility, it's not all going to Republic.
Okay, sorry, Republican and Rumpke. Festivals produce a lot of waste that is easy to sort and collect. Festivals have ample volunteers. This is why it makes sense. Festivals provide the opportunity for simple, quick education of people while not changing the course of what they're already doing at the festival, which means they're already eating and throwing waste away. So we can fit the bokashi into that. It makes sense. What is Japanese bokashi composting method by which all food waste goes through a simple fermentation process in 5-gallon buckets to expedite the production of compost. And so the how is really what we're looking at. The Waste Reduction District purchases 50 bokashi buckets and bacteria culture for the pilot program. And as you see, if all 50 buckets are filled, the pilot program will divert 950 to 1,250 pounds of food waste from the landfill. How is that calculated? Garden Quest has been doing bokashi composting, a pilot in their neighborhood with 10 families, 10 households. And they found that each bucket ranges from 19 pounds to 25 pounds of food waste. So if you multiply 50 times 19, that's 950, 50 times 12, 50 times 12, sorry, 50 times 25, that's 1250. So that's how those numbers came out. The Waste Reduction District, Tom mentioned potentially storing the buckets at the South Walnut Street location, but that could be figured out as well. And then as for the funds, the idea would be that the Waste Reduction District would purchase the buckets. And it's with, okay, so the funds to Garden Quest would be to construct the 50 buckets. The construction, there's a spigot, there's a seal, and then we have to water test them. So I water tested 10 buckets, and it took me an entire day to get these 10 buckets to actually seal and be water tested, because you have to leave water in them and make sure that it's not dripping. So some of them happened fast, and other ones took 3 or 4 or 5 times to get them fully sealed. So it's a pain.
Where you put the spigot in, is that where you're
Yeah.
worried about?
Yeah, it's a pain. That's all already there, but sometimes they just don't seal. And when you have these buckets, if the tea leaks out, it's like a sweet sour puke smell. You do not want it leaking out. So the water testing is very important. So we think it'll take us a good 2 to 3 days to water test and make sure that all 50 buckets are actually sealed and taken care of.
Are there, with regard to sealing up around that spigot, is there, with what you're doing, are there concerns about using, compounds like silicone, Teflon tape, or, other things that might help seal up? You screw that spigot in there.
So we haven't used it, and the designer creator of them says not to.
Okay.
Specifically, we've actually taken that off with our pilot and taken that out of people's hands because we know how frustrating it is to get these waters sealed. And so we don't want to dissuade people from doing bokashi by that little hiccup.
It's just like a rubber grommet or a gasket or?
Yeah, it's a rubber grommet that goes on the inside, and there's a nut
Okay,
that seals it.
okay.
And so if you tighten it too much or if you tighten it too little, and then you literally just have them sitting on the concrete, it has to stay sealed without a leak for 20 minutes. And so I'm doing multiple of those at a time, but then one fails, and then like, oh, this one's gonna work, and then 15 minutes in, it leaks. Goodness sakes. So it's extremely frustrating. But that's what you gotta do. Waste Reduction District will also fund the transport of the buckets to and from the festivals, train the festival volunteers. And then if you see on the back, hiring business to dig multiple bokashi pits for the decomposition of fermented festival food waste, managing the processing of the burial of fermented food waste, either at Garden Q Farm or at a public garden orchard space in City County. We're talking with the community orchard. They're interested in potentially hosting a Bokashi pit, multiple Bokashi pits. Mr. White over here has said he would be open to the idea of hosting a Bokashi pit, and we are looking to talking to farmers around Monroe County to see if they'd be open to hosting a Bokashi pit, because then they would also get the benefit of the compost soil. You can make it as big or as small as you want. So we currently have.
12, 14 acres.
We currently have.
You're really stretching that. So,
We currently have two pits. One is, let's say, 3 by 4 feet and about 12 inches deep. And we have another one that's maybe 16 inches deep, that's 4 by 6 feet.
You're not worried about frost lines or anything like
Frost lines. Oh, no. How deep we go? I mean, we can go deep, but then you have to layer it with 2 to 4 inches of soil. More like 2 inches between each layer.
that? Oh, yeah, but if this is something that we bury in middle of October and it's gonna sit through the winter.
Doesn't matter.
You're not worried.
No, not worried about that at all. You can, so we contacted, not just the community orchard, but the community gardens, the manager of that, and they're interested in us doing a pilot where we bury the food waste into one of the beds. The idea would be with these festivals is that, especially with Lotus, is they happen to be here, like September, October.
That's why I asked about
Right.
burying.
And so if this pilot works, we could then take all this food waste from Lotus and bury it in the community gardens, essentially amending, right? Essentially amending every single bed at the end of the season that would be ready for the next season. So we're not sure if that would be a free service or if people would say, hey, yeah, I'll pay $25 for this amendment. That would be then something that could help fund the community gardens as well, so they can have more resources, but that's all currently in the works. So that would be festival food, the composted to back into the community producing more food. So if we're talking the circular economy, I don't know how much better it can get than that. And then this would also include training all students and community members who are involved in the project from start to finish, and cleaning and sanitizing the buckets prior to storage. Cleaning the buckets, it's very simple. We just do vinegar, scrub them out with vinegar. We don't use any harsh chemicals. And that can be pretty gnarly at times, but it's not too bad. So the cost, the 50 buckets would be $2,800. We need Bokashi culture, which is what ferments it, about $99 for the 25 pounds. The 50 bucket construction leakage testing, you can see $1,250. Transportation, and you can see what we're saying is the festivals would cover, and we'd have to find the money between the waste reduction district and hopefully a VCAUS grant would cover the rest. The education of training of volunteers and students, $1,500. The management of the Bokashi process, $2,500. And the construction of the pits and soil. So the one-time cost would be the buckets, the construction and testing, and the construction of the pits and soil for layer. Those could be used for future festivals. So kind of like Tom was talking about the budget, right? These are one-time sunk costs that are recovered later on.
What kind of soil do you look at? Subsoil, topsoil?
You're saying for layering?
Yeah.
I don't know enough about subsoil to answer that question. So we'll take dirt, because we've actually taken within the Bokashi process, we've taken composted soil and clay and been able to mix those together to make a nice loamy soil.
Okay.
It can't be all clay.
No.
We would be looking at probably talking to earth keepers because they still have soil that they're selling, purchasing soil from them in order to do the layering process. But if there's already soil on site, we can do it that way as well. And we could even layer with wood chips if we really want to. It would just take longer because then that also has to break down. But if there's no hurry on needing that soil soon, we can use a cheaper product.
So you could even use an already broken down wood chips that's broken down to mulchy dirt.
Oh, 100%. That would be perfect. Yeah, that would be ideal.
It's not that tall.
Yeah. That's actually perfect. And then you come out with already that, which might be nitrogen rich or nitrogen dense, depending on where the wood is broken down. But then the food waste, the Bokashi food waste is going to give you some incredible stuff from that. So like I mentioned, because has $10,000 for projects that working groups are working on. I managed, previously Joe did, thank you, for creating that, the waste reduction working group. And so that would be something that I'll be applying for a grant for this. So that goes back to the waste reduction district in collaboration with BCause on this project. With hopefully the idea of that also happening on future projects. So questions? A lot of information.
So what would we do with the tea?
Drink it.
Fermented.
So it's
Lots of
still for 5 years. That is yet to be determined. We could, the waste reduction district could sell it as
That's what
a,
I'm thinking. If we could put that in reusable bottle, maybe we could market that
Yep.
for liquid fertilizer.
yeah, and you'd be talking somewhere between 20 and 30 gallons of the tea, and it's 3 tablespoons to a gallon of water for application. So it goes a long way. So that would be a way to recapture some of those costs. It's not going to be a ton of money, but I think online it's like $32 a gallon. Is what it's being sold for. So if you're talking, whatever, 8-ounce bottle, you could sell it for $10. And if you're, so you could recover $500 to $1,000 in those costs right there. But there are options on that. That'd be something to discuss.
There's potentially hoops for us to jump through to sell something like that.
Okay, so maybe that doesn't make
But,
sense.
well, I mean,
What would it make a difference if it was on a donation basis?
we could do, yeah, if it's something that we had in our possession, we could donate it, but
Well, I was saying people donate money for that to avoid the selling portion.
I mean, there's certainly, ways that you can overcome.
No, we sell the orange bags.
Well, we do, but we don't have direct competition from the private sector for
Just
that. If Garden Quest is already selling this product,
Oh, okay. All right, gotcha.
then we can't go into direct competition with the private sector.
Is that something BCause can do? They'd be the ones.
But, I mean, it's not to say it's an insurmountable,
Right.
because it's, we can give it away, and if you want to donate money, whatever.
Yeah, we could give it away to the community orchard to use, the community gardens to use.
Yeah, I mean, Will Detmer Park, I think, has a public garden, so there's options. But it's not a deal breaker by any stretch.
Is there any chance of this tea, even the solid waste product,
The cake, yeah.
I don't know how you say it, becoming salmonellic?
You could put bones and meat in there because it pickles it. It's not pickled. So we don't have any issues with animals going after it because they don't want to eat the pickled remains.
You haven't seen the coons in my house, have you?
Well, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out there. Yeah, typically a pH of between 4 and 5. We try to get closer to 4.
I don't know what actually causes the salmonella that comes in food that we consume. It seems like it's coming from the soil into the product. And so that's just something I was kind of wondering about when you go back, and when your vehicle back to a place that, hey, you've got salmonella.
We'll contact the Bokashi Genius that we
Okay.
ask our questions we don't have the answers to, see if he's ever experienced that.
And I know, bones, I don't know, are something to really worry about if you're dealing with festivals. You might have an occasional chicken leg or something like that.
The occasional fork bone, somebody throws out from
Never had,
beans, so that they're cooking,
well,
beans.
well, I guess it depends on the vendors that you're.
And similar to what Farm Aid did, they had volunteers with each trash can, compost, et cetera. And this makes it easier because you don't have to do the separation. And they'll have the bokashi culture right there, just a layer after every 2 inches of food waste. And then we have multiple buckets in each station for them to switch out.
It's kind of like the same culture then, that you can buy for composting.
Similar.
Simple.
Yeah, it's the EM1.
So Farm Aid did this
I
last
did
year.
not do bokashi. They had composting and recycling and trash. Large containers at each, at many different stations, and they had somebody, a volunteer that was managing those to make sure that everything went in the right one. So that'd be similar with the training. Right, and so the other idea is that this is going to increase the awareness of bokashi across the city and the county, hopefully, and then people will start, because people are currently looking for options to deal with their food waste. So that would be also the idea, is this is a marketing campaign to increase the awareness of bokashi so that individual families will hopefully start adopting this as well. So it's not just for the festival, but it's also for the marketing of this concept to address our food waste issues here in Monroe County.
How long, I know we've said this before, and I don't think it's very long, but once you get a full bucket, you seal it up, how long does that?
2 weeks total, 1 week, and then you pull the liquid out, the tea, and then after 2 weeks, it's fully ready to go wherever you want. Yeah, so it's a very fast turnover, then 2.5 to 3 months after that.
I'm thinking about storing 50 buckets that I can't test in each other.
So after that, the 2.5, 3 months is turned to soil. It might be a little bit slower during the winter. But maybe that means that we look for a shed to put on the community orchard or the community gardens, and that's where they're situated. But yeah, that's another logistic that needs to be figured out. But once we have that storage, then that's the storage for every festival.
I'm sorry, can you go through the cost again? What are you looking to the district to fund, and what are you looking at BCOS?
So the everything that's a not festival cost. So ideally, the district would do the buckets and the construction of the buckets.
And the leak testing?
I know, yeah, and the leak testing, right? And then the only other cost would be the construction of the pits. So that's what I would probably go into BCOS. So the waste reduction district would be $4,000 to $5,000, and then BCOS would be $2,000. And then we'd be looking at the festival to cover the other costs.
So, not a question, comment. One thing we may want to consider with this is maybe reaching out to some of the nurseries in the county, because many of them bag their own soil and sell it as enriched soil.
Okay.
So we may be able to get one or a few of them to do the pits for us,
Okay.
and then they can keep the product finished.
Yeah, especially if we
The buckets also be stored at their facilities for that 2-week period. Does temperature affect the process at all, or?
you don't want them in direct sun, like we keep them in our garage against the wall, no problem, but
If it's 30 degrees,
it's gonna slow the process down a little bit, so we might 3 weeks, but ideally, like for this one, Garden Quest was gonna take care of the buckets and that whole process, because we want to get this pilot done, and then we can figure out the logistics for others. We currently have we're doing September 14th at a festival in Orange County. And it's not gonna be as much, but we're employing, we've got FFA students that are getting trained and doing the process. And so that would kind of be the idea, like maybe for the Monroe County.
are you looking at Lotus still?
We're looking at Lotus in the park. We talked to Lotus and they said, let's start it on a smaller scale
Okay.
first, and then
When is Lotus?
Lotus is in October. Yeah. So additional questions or comments? And that's a great idea.
Are you available September 4th at 2:30? That's the next executive committee.
I guess I'm gonna have September 4th at 2:30. Yes. I am. Do you like me to present this there?
Well, I mean, we'll put it on the agenda. And I'll put that or whatever documentation you want in it. But I mean,
The next step.
I can be as gung ho as I want about it until the board says, yeah, sounds like a good idea.
Gotcha. So we will be writing up the grant for BCause to be presented at next month's meeting. And they can, in one meeting, vote and approve the grant.
Or not.
Or not. So, Joe, procedural question, is this something that I should ask a vote on for support of the CAC as a documentation?
I think, excuse me, I did kind of have a question. You mentioned it's a partnership between the Pecos and the district.
Right.
But it sounds more like if you're pitching it to each of them separately and you have sort of separate buckets that you're imagining for both of them, kind of curious about where the partnership part comes in.
Partnership comes in with the both funding the pilot. It's the goal of this becoming a template for how we deal with food waste festivals here in Bloomington and Monroe County from then on out. And it just sounds better.
Where does Sean Mia fit with BCause?
She is the liaison for BCause with the city, as she's the assistant director.
Oh, let me talk to Sean. It's probably going to something that has to be done similar to what we did with One Sustainable Joe, where in essence, either the city or the district is going to fund it, and then the other entity's going to reimburse their share, what they've agreed to fund to the entity that sets up all.
Okay.
That's it. In my experience, when we've done things with city entities, that's how that is.
Okay. But thank you, because I have absolutely no clue about it. So just as a show of support, I would like to take a vote as to whether the CAC would support this pilot and the funds necessary from the waste reduction district's budget. Is this a good idea to spend the funds on a pilot to see if this is a viable option to address food waste festivals, with also it being a marketing campaign for families to use it. Okay.
Can I ask you one more question? You had posed a moment ago some totals that you would expect from Pecos versus the district. Could you restate those one more time?
So BCOS has $10,000 of grants funds for working groups.
Right.
And so I wasn't going to ask for the entire 10, I was going to ask for about 2,000
Basically.
specifically for the construction.
This per festival on there, that's BCause. If it doesn't, that's the district.
Got it.
No, the per festival is actually, we would be asking Lotus to cover the costs.
Oh, okay.
So you were thinking 2,000 from Pecos.
Yep.
And the district was,
Would come out to $4,050, so about $6,050 from not the festival and the remaining from Lotus
okay,
or whoever the festival is.
got it.
No, and I mean, right now, we're kind of still spitballing, throwing things out here, because a lot of those numbers aren't set in stone. I mean, really good idea. And if the nurseries are willing to help with this, well, they'll dig the pit. Nobody's got to pay to do that.
Right, right. Yeah, these are if we happen to do it all, if Garden Quest has to do it all.
So
on their
these
own.
are,
Yeah.
I think I'd say these are kind of high-end numbers for
Correct.
either entity at this point.
Correct.
There's options to reduce those costs, depending on who else we partner with, where we do.
You have special buckets and parts that you buy online, or
Yeah, we've
it's not just going to Lowe's or somewhere in the.
we've priced out, if we were to do it ourselves and construct it on our own, it's gonna be about the same price with a lower quality. We're trying multiple different styles of buckets as well. And we found that these are hands down the best. We've done 250, 300 cycles of these buckets. So we've had you know, we've had our leaks and it's not fun. Great question.
So how long are you seeing like one bucket last?
We've had all the original buckets for a year and a half. They're still going strong. We only have one that's ended up leaking and we resealed it and it's back in service. So, because we're having families turn them in every bucket every 2 weeks.
That's it.
Sounds like school bus.
Yeah, and we could buy the replacement parts. The only ongoing cost is the Bokashi culture to have that to layer in. Additional questions? Comments?
I have a question I'd like to ask after we take a vote. It's
Sure.
not relevant to the decision.
So by, I guess we can do a roll call vote.
Oh, yes.
We'll do a roll call vote. If you support using waste reduction district funds to pilot Bokashi at festivals with also the idea of marketing it to families across the county and city in order to address food waste issues.
All right, John Arnold,
Yes.
Matt Austin,
Yes.
Bill Goins.
Yes.
Brad Lucas,
Yes.
Paul White,
Yes.
and Joe Squinny, and also against.
Right, so there's a 6-0 support of potential pilot for food waste, Bokashi food waste at festivals. Okay,
If I can ask a follow-up
Yeah,
question. Tommy mentioned unstacked buckets. Presume that if they have spigots on the bottom of them, you'll never be able to stack them, nest them inside each other, right?
I mean, if it was a once a year use, then we would undo them.
Oh,
and
you do?
we
Okay.
could do that, but then we'd have to water test them again.
Right,
But the idea would be using these for the Fourth Street Festival, right? Using these every couple of months.
right. And a lot of labor to disassemble, reassemble.
Right, I mean, disassemble is fine, right? I can do that in a few hours, but reassembling and water testing, that's really what it takes.
You know, with the spigot, so I'm assuming it's a couple inches out from the bottom,
Correct.
so you could still stack them on top of each other with the lids on them.
Yeah, we'll still stack like that.
It's just not as hard. Yeah.
That's take up more space than nesting of this.
Right, sure.
Just crossed my mind after you mentioned.
No, and that's what I'm trying to envision. I think that we can.
I mean, we could put all 50 buckets against the wall right here. No problem.
I think that we get, can I add an addendum to my report from earlier?
Sure.
I did forget one. We have, I get like a consultant, for lack of a better term, with us right now, who used to serve on the county's record retention commission. And we're going through about 15 years worth of records and purging. Currently identified boxes of varying sizes. We're guesstimating this is about 60 large banker boxes of records that can be destroyed. They're old enough, they can go away. They're not permanent records. So that's going to clear out a lot of space.
And those are being held at the South Walnut.
Yeah, they're currently in in essence, is what is a backyard shed that we have behind the recycle.
Yeah, that would be fine for storage of the buckets.
So in addition to that, she's developing a retention policy plan for us, so we don't get to this point again.
Gotcha. Okay, so we're done with new business. Public comment, each member of the public will have 4 minutes to speak. Please indicate your desire to comment by raising your hand function in Teams or by typing in the chat. Call on. The rest request is received. Anybody on? Do not. Any public comment from my girlfriend? Nope. Okay. All right, so moving on, reminders, next regular meeting is Thursday, September 19th, 2024 at 5:30 PM here in the Showers Building, room 100B. And if there is no objection, this meeting will adjourn. Seeing none, we are adjourned.
Thanks, man.
I'm going to come up with you. That's my, wait, are you talking about Bokashi?
Yeah.
A Japanese guy came up in the 80s. A Japanese guy figured it out in the 80s.
Oh, okay.
But my sister discovered it a couple of years ago. It's been going, because we were doing a composting pilot where we were accepting people's food waste. And that got gnarly. That got really, really nasty. And then we started layering it ourselves, and that was nasty. So we've now transitioned into layering their own buckets. But dealing with people's food waste. If they leave it too long.
That's.
uh,